Meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll, please.
Trustee Foley?
Here.
Trustee Meisman?
Here.
Trustee Bellinger? Here. Trustee Pankowski? Here. Trustee Feinmore?
Here.
Trustee Hudson?
Here.
Treasurer Rozak? Attorney Najib?
Here.
President Dilbert?
Here. Approval of agenda. I need to remove two items. Under President's item, item H, the Housing Commission appointment, I want to remove. And under the attorney item, I want to remove item B.
Under unfinished business, can you add a quick update on blighted property at 58680 Victoria?
Who's the update going to come from?
The attorney is in at the courtroom. Or no?
So Mr. Addis?
Yeah. I think he's the only attorney here,
Yeah,
right?
but he doesn't typically,
Here, I'll text him, and by the time we get to it, I'll probably have your answer.
Well, you know, can we do it next month?
Sure.
Christmas, okay, okay, thanks.
any other changes?
I move to approve the agenda as amended. Support.
Probably moved and supported that we approve the agenda as amended. Questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Public comment on agenda. Approval of minutes from the July 9th meeting.
I have a question about President item A. It says on here that we were going to repeal the hawking and peddling, but I believe I spoke with Trustee Pridemore that it was supposed to be tabled. And then the attorney to draft I think it's an updated ordinance. I don't know what the wording was.
Yeah, we decided that we weren't going to repeal it because that would not serve the purpose, that we were going to change the language in it. You know what that is?
Yeah, I do. This would probably be as good a time as any for me to address this. There have been some decisions recently about hawking and peddling ordinances, and they raise First Amendment questions. A village can take specific areas of a village and for a rational purpose, totally prevent hawking and peddling in that specific area, okay? But there are no cases that uphold a blanket prohibition against it across an entire village, across an entire city, across an entire township. We just got to link a rational basis as to, in this area, we don't want any hawking and peddling. Perhaps school kids are there, you don't know who's knocking on the door. Certain areas that may affect the running of businesses there, hospitals, things of that nature. But we're not saying you can't do it. You can do it, but you're going to face a challenge from somebody one day. And it's a challenge that if it doesn't have a real rational basis, you might lose. It may not be worth the fight. Keeping that in mind, we'll put together the best one we can put together. And if the board gives us some direction on what areas of the village do you really want to have that prohibition in effect, we can do it.
Are we having a discussion on this now?
No, I think Mr. Picoli, because you're right.
Just for the minutes.
Right. Yes, the administration has said that we were going to repeal the whole ordinance. Yeah. So we need to give Mr. Addis some direction. And we can revisit this later. So are you offering an amendment to the minutes?
Yes.
Okay. Please do.
Oh, what I said earlier was, the minutes reflected that the hawking and peddling ordinance is going to be repealed and changing it to table.
Table and amended.
And then where it says and to have the attorney prohibit a draft, it's just to draft an updated ordinance.
Any other questions on the minutes?
Motion that we approve the meeting minutes as amended.
Support.
And properly moved and supported that we approve the minutes as amended. Questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Consent agenda.
Make a motion that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Been moved and supported that we approve the consent agenda as presented. Questions on the motion?
I just have a comment, we want to remove DPW and code enforcement. Was it the report for those?
We have DPW.
Where was that? Do you know?
Yeah, I did.
Great. But I didn't get a report.
Sandy?
Mr. Vanderburg, I'll send it separately.
You send it separately?
I think so.
Oh.
No, I don't have it. No.
Nope.
I'll go check on this.
Okay, I'll contact him because it should come through here.
It should come to us, but he
Yeah.
doesn't usually sends it right off, so.
So how about DPW?
Yes.
And your comment, your question was?
So just if they can amend to remove those two reports, that's all.
No, just the one.
Code and I didn't see the DPW report.
Yeah, I thought we had the DPW, although I'm not seeing it, but admittedly we had so many emails with different.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
I didn't see DPW.
We have little.
No problem.
I support the
That would be my fault, not DPW, because they're,
No worries, just so that we're not,
yeah, it's fine.
we're not including it, that's all.
So are you offering that as a motion?
Yes. And then trustee Craftmore support.
Any questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Myson?
Yes.
Trustee Bidmore?
Yep.
Trustee Pacoli?
Yes.
Trustee Melander? Yes. Trustee Mankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Vincent?
Yes.
President Zilker?
Yes. President items, sign ordinance. Ordinance 365. Between Mrs. Bonkowski and Mr. Schrader. Do you have any questions on the sign ordinance?
One question that I had for prohibited signs, section 4, item F, neon tubing, LED, or similar accent lighting shall not be permitted on and around, in front, or behind windows in a manner visible to the general public. So by that definition, wouldn't that mean that like a neon open, closed sign would be prohibited?
No, I believe we make exemption for open and closed signs, so they're in there for that.
Because I did see in there about open and closed, but I didn't know if that, it was kind of confusing which one.
Most of them you see are LED or neon. I think what the intent of the ordinance was to not have the distracting with the entire windows framed, flashing lights, those types of elements. Some of the things that we see present. But those would not, that would not be.
Okay,
Yeah, I do see in that, I don't see which section it is, but for an open and closed sign, a single open or closed sign may be allowed for each business establishment, provided the sign does not exceed more than 3 square feet in area. Such signs may be illuminated, so by that definition, then we're allowing still neon and not open. I personally like being able to see whether a business is open or closed, so I just saw that as to happen.
Questions?
I know there was some discussion about a Supreme Court case. This ordinance is in compliance with that freedom of speech.
We believe it is as compliant as it can be, but we did work with the village attorneys to draft the language. There were a number of sections that they identified of signs that would have been in violation of the Reed versus Woodward case, Woodward versus Reed, I'm not sure I have the word proper there, and those elements were stricken up. So that the largest thing you'll see is there's no regulation on political signs. That's the largest one. And when we look at temporary signs, there's no restriction. There's no differentiation between different types of temporary signs. A temporary sign is a temporary sign. It's defined to be a certain size and a certain height. So, in a nutshell, that's the ways we went around and tried to address those issues. But anything that was considered a sign that would be where it was content driven by speech, those are the types of signs that we basically showed up in the ordinance.
But those types of signs are still regulated by location and size?
Yes.
Actually, on the subject of this one, we had a business that recently changed their sign at 270 Gratiot that was rather visible. And I understand that we can't restrict based on content of the sign, but I didn't know, would that sign have to have gone through some sort of approval, or would they just be allowed to just change the building? I don't know if they, well,
I'm not familiar with the sign.
I'm trying to be purposefully vague, but,
There's a sign, a very large sign that does not conform to the other signs in the strip mall. It's very large, black and white. This is the same business owner that was putting a 10 by 12 advertisement on a truck and moving the truck around the parking lot to advertise the business. There is language in here about conformity to the other signs in the mall. This does not conform. So would the village be able to notify the business owner? Because the other signs are smaller, in color, the name of the business. So
in the ordinance as it's drafted, all regulated signs within the village, except for certain temporary signs, require a permit.
Okay.
So a permit should have been pulled through the building department. And that is not a sign that I've seen come through the planning commission. So we may be talking an enforcement issue here, not necessarily a planning issue, or I was going to say an ordinance issue. As far as wall signs go and monument signs, they are all regulated within this ordinance and previously were with size and square footage calculations.
So the 10 by 12 sign on the truck that kept moving on the lot is permissible?
That would not be.
Okay.
Well, there was confusion because they kept moving it every day.
Well, it wasn't an abandoned vehicle.
Well, let's be clear, because most of you probably haven't been talking on the conversation between the enforcement officer and the business owner, or then again, you may have been. But they're claiming that the vehicle is driven there in the morning and parked there because they're working in the strip mall. And then in the evening, when they close up shop, the vehicle is driven away.
The vehicle isn't painted, the sign is mounted on it.
It's not even a box truck that would be utilitarian, it's.
Yeah. But again, the sign isn't painted on the vehicle, it's a mounted sign.
In the new ordinance, vehicle mounted signs, a sign that's just there to be a sign to be moved around or not.
Okay. And we also have a conformity regulation now about,
When you say conformity,
well, like I said, the other businesses have signs that are more in scale to the business front. They're in color. you know, little bits of decorative, like you have this sign, this sign, this sign.
There is conformity because that the size calculation is also a function of the square footage that they have. So they should all be, they should be proportionately spaced.
In the bound,
That, I
I should
would,
get a permit to make sure it does.
my assumption would be that is an unpermitted sign that was just put up without coming through the village office.
You need to come talk to us.
And the only other question I had was, if there was a sign that was previously allowable in this ordinance, then makes it no longer allowed, is there a grace period or something for that business to be able to comply?
Yeah, there was much discussion on that. That wasn't something that I had to give it one moment to find that here in the ordinance. I believe what we had stated that there's not conforming signs, I believe we're looking at a 3-year period. It used to be 10, I'm sorry, 5. It was originally 10, so we figured we would.
Yeah, I know it was in there, I think you're right, it was under a non-conforming.
It is.
Page 7, P2.
Yeah, I was curious about that as well, as we do have a couple of businesses that have
So 5 years?
painted signs.
Correct. And then if the, if the sign is found to be in disrepair, that accelerates that as well. But it shouldn't be, it's supposed to be taken care of by either removed or put into compliance or be repaired properly. Again, that would be an enforcement issue as well.
Right.
And one other quick question, let's say liquor stores, they tend to mount multiple signs in front of the building. Does this limit the signage?
Yes, this does. This limits window signs. It limits the main wall sign that's allowed. So most of what you're seeing with the advertisements and those things, those have already been non-conforming illegal signs. Again, it's an enforcement issue.
Any other questions?
I just want to recover what the sign in particular that Anna's asking about. That sign is the same size as every sign on the building. It's the size of the font is large.
It's bigger.
Right, so I just want to make
But
sure.
the area, the square footage is the same, is what you're saying.
No, the sign is bigger. It's taller.
It's the same size.
Is
It's the
that-
same
well,
size.
maybe the font makes it look bigger.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure we're all on the same page that I think that is allowable.
That would be allowable if it's within the allotted square footage.
You know, my bad, it just looks huge.
I don't want expectations to be
Yeah,
different
if
than
that
what.
becomes an aesthetic issue, that's not something that.
No.
Obviously.
And the plan commission did send a recommendation?
If this plan commission did, they held a public hearing and we put a recommendation to you guys for consideration and approval of this plan.
Make a motion that we adopt ordinance number 365, an ordinance to provide for the regulation of signs within the village of New Haven.
Support.
And probably moved and supported that we adopt ordinance 365 pertaining to signs. And like any ordinance, it's always a work in progress. And we'll find something that you didn't address, and we'll have to, take care of it later on. Any questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Lyson,
Yes.
trustee Claremont,
Yes.
trustee Bellinger. Yes. Trustee Jankowski,
Yes.
trustee Nicole,
Yes.
trustee Neshek,
Yes.
President Silbert.
Yes. Motion carried. The PUD. This is Bonkowski or is Mr.
The PUD ordinance was one of the areas of the zoning ordinance that we took a look at. As we looked at each of the individual zoning districts, we kind of looked and say, are the rules and regulations that are being put forth and proposed uses in these districts applicable to the area that they're in? And when we looked at PUD, there were a couple of things that we saw. One of the things that we saw was PUD was restricted initially just to our residential districts. I believe it had a minimum lot size or development size of 50 acres. right away when we looked at that, we realized that, well, there's not very many places you can get planning within the village. But with PUD, the planning unit development, it is a tool. It's a tool that can be used by the community to basically allow for more creative development, mixed-use development, and also to be able to have a platform to negotiate with the developer. So in this case, what we want to try to do with the PUD is we'll try to recraft it so it better fits what makes a better tool for the village. So there were a number of changes that were proposed to go before you tonight. The first would be to allow the PUD to be applied in all districts. So in the commercial district, even in our general business downtown district, if someone comes with a creative project that he wants to mix commercial with some residential development, we would have a tool that's more flexible than the existing zoning that's there. Another thought that we had as we look at some of the larger tracts of property that are still available in the village, the one triangle property that sits between Gratiot and New Haven Road and 26. Currently zoned commercial, but we know that potentially someone may want to come in with a different use. One of the things we're thinking was a lot of the things we're seeing happening in other communities right now is we're seeing these medical mixed things where you may have a commercial pharmacy with some doctor's offices, and there may even be some resident type of care facility. Our zoning doesn't allow for that mix, but the PUD would allow us to put that type of a package together with the developer and see if that's something we want, if it fits that stuff, is flexibility. So what we thought to do is allow the PUD in all the districts, go from the 50-acre, it was originally 20-acre project site size minimum down to 5 acres. So someone with a smaller piece of property can still leverage some of these types of tools. The other thing that we looked at that's in a lot of other PUD ordinances that you'll see in communities is that a lot of times the developer will want to come in and have a piece of land, and they will not want to do the traditional lots if they're residential houses, or may want to have a closer spacing between a commercial use and what might be multifamily type of use. So given the proper screening, that the sites, that the utilities and stuff are available on a site to be able to support that type of development, one of the things that we're writing into this is that the village council, if it receives a recommendation from the planning commission, can increase the overall residential density in PUD by 20%. And that can be a bonus to the developer in negotiations for other amenities on the site, trail park, something, other public amenities, or even a whole host of different things. So we're looking at that residential density available at 20%. Now, the way PUD works is PUD can be overlaid on the existing district. So the rules of the existing district are in there. And then any other densities or any other regulations you want to put on top of that. So you wouldn't have a situation where in one of our industrial districts, someone would want to come in and then propose a residential multifamily housing. That wouldn't be permitted, just so that everybody's clear. And then two of the other factors that we're really taking a look at closely, and we talked to the attorneys and looked at a number of other communities, is that when you enter into a PUD, when you develop a PUD, you generally enter into an agreement with the developer. That becomes a legal binding document. But there's certain elements that should be in there. They're all detailed in here. A proper site plan, all the agreed upon negotiations between the community and the developer need to be detailed in that. So we have spelled out in the ordinance the minimum items that need to be required in that. And that's basically to protect the village moving forward. And then lastly, any proposed amendments to the PUD have to go through a site plan process, and there is a prescribed methodology for doing that. So if a project were, say, to be approved, and for some reason that developer transferred to somebody else, if the village wanted to continue that, if there were amendments to that, there's a process to go through and amend that to make sure that what has been agreed on is built, or wherever changes are made, that both parties are agreeing with those changes. And that pretty much encapsulates what we did with the PUD ordinance. So again, that was before Planning Commission. Public hearing was held on that. Recommendations before you guys to consider it and potentially approve it.
PUD format, or I guess with lack of a PUD format or lack of these updates, when I think about like downtown districts and where they have commercial, you know, like a 2-story commercial on the main floor and then residential up above, and everybody always wants, you know, that downtown district again. Without this PUD, is that even, that's, I mean, based on zoning requirements?
It is possible in our general business district, because when we went through and worked on the master plan, there were some ordinance, there were some amendments. So there were not amendments made. Those provisions are in there. We permit up to a 3-story structure in that area. 0 lot lining, so those would be put together, you know, a traditional downtown manner. And then we do allow for mixed use in terms of commercial downstairs, residential, or other type of office space as well. It is considered, but if someone was coming in on their regular shaped parcel or potentially wanting to an assembly, or look at potentially a industrial use that's there, this PUD tool could come in and those negotiations, give the village more leverage in case of trouble.
Would this be a motion to, is it for an ordinance or an update?
This would be an amendment to the existing planning ordinance, or zoning system.
Make a motion that we make an amendment to Article 16 of the PUD Planned Unit Development Overlay District.
Support.
It's probably moved and supported that we amend the PUD ordinance. Any questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Wyson?
Yes.
Trustee Pridmore?
Yes.
Trustee Foley?
Yes.
Trustee Bellinger? Yes. Trustee Polkowski?
Yes.
Trustee Hatchett?
Yes.
President Miller?
Yes. Motion carried. Thank you,
Chris,
Jeff.
can I just one quick thing?
Sure.
Just for everyone's information, Jeff has been promoted within his department.
Within our department.
Yes. So we'll be having a new planner here in the village. We did meet them our last meeting.
If I could say, it's been a pleasure serving you guys as a planner. I will still be in that capacity with the county, but we will have 2 of my other staff. John Polkowski will be your primary planner. Amanda Manella will be backup. They both also tag team Studio that she's going to be primary there, will be backup as well. We welcome you to any of the planning commission meetings. We'd like to see those guys in action. What we are going to be embarking on in the next few months is now that we have these ordinances behind us, we can finally really dig into the 5-year master plan update. There will be an opportunity during that process for you guys to come in as the trustees and council to talk about issues and things that you'd like to see addressed. I had already had a meeting with Chris and department heads within the village, and we're going to probably revisit that. So definitely want to hear from DPW and fire and see what any concerns that they have. But I think you guys will be in good hands. And as I told them, I will be probably with them through the process and through the month of November. Like I tell you, you're definitely good hands for those guys. Thank you for the time to be able to serve you guys. Appreciate you.
Congratulations.
And actually, before we move on, if I could real quick, sorry to keep this going, but, you know, I think that the sign ordinance, we glossed over it with it passing and everything, but I just wanted to take a moment and thank Mr. Schroeder, the planning commission. You know, when I was on the planning committee, I know that there was a lot of effort, a lot of time that was taken with the sign ordinance, and I know that it was a massive undertaking, especially with the Supreme Court ruling that kind of threw everybody for a loop with the content. So, you know, I just want to say thank you to everybody that was involved, because that was a lot of work that went into it, even though I know we kind of glossed over, you know, there was a lot there, and it was a lot of work, so thank you, everybody.
Water tower, rehab bid.
Good evening. We went out for bids for rehabilitation on our water tower a few months back. So now I'm bringing forward the recommendation for award. Dixon Engineering and myself, there was 5 bids for water tower rehabilitation. Some were high, some were very low. And so Mr. Rounds did his homework and due diligence, and we came up with L&T Painting Company out of Shelby Township. Dixon Engineering had worked with this company, so they know what they're all about and the quality of work that they do. So Mr. Rounds and Dixon Engineering is recommending that we go with L&T Painting Company out of Shelby Township. And this is an amount of $90,640 in this recruit. This includes all crack repairs, the catch basins, pit welding, overflow modification, rise and grade modification, wet interior painting, which is the bulk of the work. You know, we'll have to drain the tower, keep the tower out of service until they're done, and then and also pit piping repaint. So that's that. And it's going to be a process. We're looking to start in September. We try to get it in the off-peak months because you can get better prices. So this is what we came up with.
This is done what, on a 5 year or 10 year?
No, this hasn't been done in 30 years. We did more than that also. When they did the board project, that was a minor rehab. That was just outside painting. This is it. This is specialized in inside painting. You know, this is the big deal right here.
So who's doing the repairs, L&T or Dixon?
L&T. Dixon is the engineering firm
So
that would do all the specs and
Painting company does the repairs to the water
yeah,
tower?
they do the repairs, the welding, all that. The company, yeah. That's what they do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's one of those,
Yeah,
LT.
for specialized company.
Yeah, that's a little bit.
That's what they do.
No, this is what they do, yeah. Yeah, they do a lot of towers. Yeah, we actually outlasted, we were 10 years, we bought 10 years, so to speak. We were due after 20 years, but we lasted. Our water actually is very good and non-corrosive, and that's why it lasted an extra 10 years. So,
Are these guys, you gotta remind me, I forgot, we sprung that leak a couple
Yeah.
months ago. Was that patched and these guys are gonna?
yeah, that was an outside patch, but
Okay.
they couldn't go inside as well.
They're gonna go down and
Yeah,
repair
this
it.
is all this work, yes. And it's a 100,000 gallon double helix bowl, so that's gonna be repainted inside. Yeah, and everything else. You know, everything, any cracks, crevice, everything's gonna be repaired, and hopefully we'll get another 30 years out of it.
How long would the water tower have to be taken offline?
It's all dependent on weather, you know, all those factors, but we're looking at about a couple of weeks. Yeah, a couple of weeks.
That's it.
Yeah.
And we I remember when we had the emergency repair or the patch job, I mean, there was some residents that did notice, you know, the change in water pressure, but I mean, is there anything that we'd be able to do to like compensate in the off or?
Now, most of the pressure loss is on that end of town.
Right.
Because of the elevation up there. You know, we'll inform the public, and, you know, we just gotta conserve and, you know, do your laundry at night, or, you know. And that's one reason why we wanna do it in the off season, so that you're probably past watering your lawn and stuff like that.
And our water system runs off of 62 PSI constantly, so, you know, water, you know, we're actually spoiled, you know, with our water pressure, to be honest. But there are other places that don't get 4 PSI on a great day.
You said you had 5 bids?
Yes.
Where did L&T Painting come in the range from dollar point of view?
They were second, well, they were third lowest. The lowest bid, they must have missed some sentences because it was not even in the ballpark. It was, and they admitted, yeah, we must have missed something, so their bid was just another. The second lowest bid, Mr. Dixon did some homework, and they actually come from a company that had some issues, so to speak, so we kind of went to the next.
So they're right in the middle.
Yes.
The issues that they had are detailed in the
Yes.
recommendation.
You're looking for a motion.
Absolutely. I can't spend 90 grand on my own.
Make a motion that we approve the bid for the water tower repair in the amount of $90,640 to L&T Painting Company in Shelby Township.
Support.
And probably moved and supported that we award the water tower rehab to L&T Painting of Shelby Township in the amount of $90,640. Questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Myson?
Yes.
Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Malinger? Yes. Trustee McCauley?
Yes.
Trustee Pybor?
Yes.
Trustee Haslett?
Yes.
President Hilbert?
Yes.
Thank you.
Sidewalk projects. We had, we recently adopted a new sidewalk ordinance, which gives us the ability to do a few things differently. We can come through and make major repairs of sidewalks and give the homeowner, charge back the homeowners, and also give them some payment options. Something that our previous ordinance really didn't allow us to do. And so with that being said, in driving around the community, last month we had talked about doing some sidewalks on Clark Street, Hayden Ridge, and Main. And after driving around the community and just looking at the conditions, I asked B&J to quote another section of Main. If we decide to do these 3 sections on Main, Main will be done. Totally complete. We had already approved the sidewalks at the Fountain Park, which are village owned. And the other sections that were in part of the conversation was Orchard to Pine, which we had already received a quote on. And I asked D&J to give us a quote on the library to Orchard. And if we decide to do those 2 sections, then Main Street will be 100% complete with new sidewalks, all ADA compliant. Everything will be in line. And then in the future, say next year, we can pick another major street like Clark Street or Hayden Ridge, we had, instead of bouncing new sidewalks and bad sidewalks. So what I'm asking for tonight is to approve replacing the sidewalks on Main Street from the library to Orchard in the amount of $17,936. And on Main Street from Orchard to Pine in the amount of $785. These will be paid for out of Act 51 money, but because they're private residents.
That second number is not correct. It's
Yeah,
16,000.
16,785.
16,785? What did I say?
785 was ours.
Deal.
Sorry about that. These are paid for with Act 51 monies, but because they're private parcels, we have to recoup that from the property owners. Whereas the Act 51 money that will be used to pay for the village-owned sidewalks, that doesn't have to be recovered.
How many parcels got up to? Sidewalks are gonna be replaced. So do we know
8.
what is, so,
8.
How many linear feet?
There's,
do we know what the chargeback to the residents is gonna be? I guess?
it's gonna vary. There's one parcel on Main Street that's a double wide lot. It's 120 foot of frontage. It's gonna be sizable. That one parcel in that Orchard of Pine area will probably eat up at least 25% of that 16,000. But our ordinance allows us to give them 2 years to pay it back.
And then we can do payment options or if the
Or you
property's
pay it in full.
transferred, would have to be satisfied with their title.
If they can pay it in quarterly payment, they can pay it in full, or but we can give them up to 2 years to pay it back.
Does the entire stretch of these sidewalks pose a danger?
Yeah. I think at some point, every member should park their car at the library and walk it. And don't use open-toe shoes. And don't ride your bike. Because I go out in the road and I ride my bike. They're probably some of the, it's probably the worst two blocks in the village, or at least near the worst two blocks in the village.
Can we just review after once the 2 years comes, and if they have not made the payment, or whomever, anyone, what is the process?
We can attach it.
Would the cost for any resident exceed $2,000?
I would say yes. Yes.
In 2 years to pay back, let's say $4,000?
I'm sorry.
Are we, the average resident in that section of town, I don't think we have any millionaires in that section of town. If they get a $4,000 bill for replacing the sidewalks, and we give them 2 years to replace it, is that putting an undue burden on their finances, do you think?
No, I don't think so. And I don't have any insight into their personal finances, but when I look at the residents, and the ones that I know, just my opinion, but here's the problem. Do we make these decisions based on that? Or do we make these decisions based on the walkability of this community?
It's a better deal than what they're gonna get if they independently, because it's, I mean, even if they find a company that's willing to
No, I'm
finance
talking
them
about
over
the
the course
life,
of,
I'm talking about the life of payments.
but I think we're limited on length of payback.
No.
Is it a 2-year window?
No, we can extend that.
We can,
Yeah.
If they apply to extend it, and
Yeah.
they can say, okay.
We have some wiggle rooms.
Okay.
But, we don't want this to be a 20-year payback.
No, but if somebody has an undue financial hardship, they're willing in good faith to pay it, but they might need 3 years. As long as you've got some wiggle room. I don't want to slap anybody living on a fixed income with a $4,000 sidewalk bill. Oh, you got 2 years to pay that.
Sure, I understand that.
Okay.
But by the same token, lack of enforcement, then we assume the liability.
Oh, yeah, no, that's to be replaced.
And they have the option of hiring their own contractor to replace that
They have the
sidewalk.
option,
in lieu
which
of
they're not
us.
gonna get a better rate.
I know that, but, and how much notice are we given?
The letters should be going out this month. I'm sorry, this week.
If one of the residents decides to do the work on their own, hire their own contractor, what is the time frame they have to complete the work?
I think the ordinance allows them 30 days to complete the work.
Is the library responsible?
For their section, and That's why we didn't quote the library.
To the library.
Just from the library property line going this way. Well, the library sidewalk itself is in good shape, but it doesn't meet the current standards. But we're not looking to force replacement of sidewalks that just don't meet the current width. You know, we're actually looking to and just replace sidewalks that are bad.
Okay, so we're looking for approval for 16,785. And what was the other?
17,936.
This is Act 51 money?
Yes.
Before we make a motion, one more question. Do we have, I'm trying to find it in my email and I'm coming up blank. Do we have the Pacer rating for the sidewalks? What condition were the sidewalks rated in that?
I'm sure Samantha's looking at it.
And that's kind of where I'm coming from too, because I mean, if we have sidewalks that just look bad, but they're not a risk to start charging homeowners.
Yeah, these are definitely a risk, but Reeves,
It's a rating is 3, so it's almost failed. One is failed. Nearly failed. And that was 2 years ago. We did raise the rating.
and there's a number of areas in that stretch where trees were taken out because the trees were lifting the sidewalks, and those sidewalks are affected. They're a definite hazard.
Do you want it in the motion do we need to include in the motion about flexibility of payment plans or something like that, or do you just want it on the,
You can include it, but because we will go by the ordinance, and the ordinance does give us that.
We just need to approve the amounts.
okay. So again, the amounts were the 17,936 and 16,785. Okay. Make a motion that we approve the bid for, D&J to do the work for Orchard to Pine and Library to Orchard in the amounts of 16,785 and 17,936 respectively. You need a grand total.
34,721.
What should we say?
Support.
Been properly moved and supported that we accept the bid from D&J Contracting for the Main Street sidewalk replacement. Any questions on the motion?
One more question. In the bids, we have in here that the pricing is based on dumping of spoils at Ajax. That's an agreement that we have with them.
Yeah, but that's not an issue.
Okay.
Yes, not an issue.
But just want to make sure because it said that if they didn't, then the amount would go up.
And we're also, if I may, we're going to allow the homeowners, because every driveway on Main Street on that side of the road is a gravel driveway. So we're going to give the homeowner D&J's information, so that if they want to privately contract with D&J for a concrete driveway, which I hope they all do, because it makes it a lot easier. But that's a separate call that the homeowner will have to contract individually. Any other questions on the motion? And this is to be paid out of major activity one million. Roll, please.
Trustee Myson?
Yes.
Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Polly?
Yes.
Trustee Melander? Yes. Trustee Gresham?
Yes.
Trustee Hyder?
Yes.
President Silver?
Yes. Thank you. I know there's going to be a lot of flack over this, and I'm going to be the one to take most of it, and I'm going to take most of it. But like I said earlier, if we have any intent of making this a walkable community, we got to have good sidewalks. The ZBA fee. You have a memo. We've been coming up short on our ZBA fees. It hasn't been covering the advertisement, the board members' pay, the administrative costs, postage, and all those things combined. So we're asking that we raise our ZBA fees from $400 to $600. There was a ZBA meeting last night that cost us $512. So we didn't even cover our costs. Please.
I will make a motion to raise the ZBA application fees to the amount of $400.
No.
Or
600.
Oh, no, scroll farther, $600.
Support. Support.
Properly moved and supported that we increase the ZBA application fee from $400 to $600. Any questions on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Resolution 19-009, our sewer deficit elimination.
This is our fourth sewer deficit elimination plan of the year. I had on the reporting done for that 65, and this automatically spits out that I have to do a sewer deficit elimination plan. The last two, they denied us because it's been for 5 years already. They said that we can't do that. So this is just a formality for us to do it, just to be able to get in there so that hopefully they won't take 25% off our, I don't remember, it's the MTF line. So I have to do this, it's a exercise that I have to do this to get the paperwork all together. All our reporting is done for the year, and next council meeting, you'll know when we've done presenting our financials to into it until then. So this is formality that I have to send to the state, and they will approve it for me, and then we'll go on. Last time we did this, I had Mr. Addison's office sent a letter and asked him why they didn't take 25%, because it doesn't show up in the statute at all. And then the next check we got, they didn't take 25%. So we're working on it, trying to, make sure. But right now, I think they said 2013 to 2018, 5 years, something like that. We're not only supposed to do this for 5 years. So all I did was draft 2019 up for this sewer deficit elimination plan and use the same numbers and I'm sending it to them. So please approve that. I appreciate that.
Make a motion to approve resolution 19-009, the sewer deficit elimination.
Support.
This topic moved and supported that we adopt resolution 19-009, our sewer fund deficit elimination plan. Any questions on the motion?
For the, thank you for all the attachments regarding this. It was really interesting with all the Excel stuff. I'm a nerd when it comes to looking at all this stuff. So the sewer debt charges, that's the money that we're bringing in. Where does it come out though on here? 'Cause that's what I wasn't seeing.
It's in the outlet expenses. You won't see, you will only see the interest expense. The principal will show up on the balance sheet, you won't see it on that expenditure there.
Okay, that's where I was confused.
Yes, you won't see it on the revenue expenditure report, it's on the balance sheet. Okay, that makes sense.
That's fair enough.
Any other questions? Roll, please.
Trustee Tymore?
Yes.
Trustee Foley?
Yes.
Trustee Meisen?
Yes.
Trustee Callender? Yes. Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Hatchett?
Yes.
President Gilbert?
Yes. Property transfers, about a year ago or longer, we had talked about the Decorah Park walking path and how that piece of property was inadvertently not part of the Decorah master deed. It was a clerical error on the part of Bartle, and that property became the ownership of some organization out of St. Clair Shores or something like
The
that.
aviation company?
Yeah, World Heritage Museum, or I don't know what they do for whatever. So anyways, we had a discussion the first part of the year. Things went quiet. They never got back with me. And when they received their September tax bill, suddenly my phone started ringing. So what we've agreed is that there's 5 parcels in question. One is the 4-acre parcel that's part of the Decorah Park walking path, and there's 4 parcels. One is a 44 by 44 by 48 triangle that's part of Haven Place Park, and there's 2 10 by 40 strips along Clark Street that we already maintain and cut, and they're part of the shoulder of the road. So, in them giving back to the village the 4 acres for the Decorah Park, we also must take back those other 4 parcels, and which we've agreed to do. So what's going to happen? The attorney has they have quit claim these parcels back to the village. The attorney will the 4 parcels, they will register them with the county, and so they will come off the tax rolls. They will become a part of the property that they're attached to. And the 5th parcel, the 4 acres in Decorah Park, the association attorney along with Lombardo's attorney, they've already been in conversation, so they will do what's necessary to make that parcel part of the Decorah Park master deed. And in return for that, the taxes which have been built out already can't be forgiven. So Decorah and Lombardo are going to split the village and township taxes that are due. Am I correct in what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's correct.
And on the other parcels, the village taxes that are due, we will pay ourselves those taxes, and we will also pay the township taxes for the September period, and after that, it's all tax-free. Am I confusing anybody?
So Lombardo split the cost?
Lombardo is split the cost.
Yes.
The only question I had, the triangle parcel, I was surprised that the taxes were so
Did
high.
you see the taxes? We had a conversation with the assessor. He says, somehow that slipped through the crack, and that they don't look at every parcel every year. The taxes on that 44 by 44 by 48 triangle was over $600, $700 a year. It was probably the single most taxed person.
Yeah.
So now that's going to become part of the park?
Yes. Yes, it's, if you didn't know it, it's already part of the park.
Now it's official.
So,
Okay, thank you.
are we in agreement? And I need a motion to make sure that this is all good to go.
Make a motion that we approve the property transfers.
Support.
The property moved and supported that we approve the property transfers in question in the 5 parcels. Any questions on the motion?
What's the total village cash outlay for the taxes this September for the property that will go back to the village?
This transaction here,
Yeah.
Those 4 parcels that, oh,
I have it.
it's on the memo. Unless you don't have this memo, I Township is $676.59, and the village is $741.21.
All total? For the 4 parcels?
Yes. Yes.
For the minutes, will we include the parcel IDs in there too, so that we know which transfers we're talking about?
Are you all your fault combined?
Said you would like to include the, okay. You can.
President Gilbert, for the sake of transparency, do you or Attorney Addis, do you recommend that I abstain from voting since I'm part of the core HOA president and kind of involved in this? Or?
Well, now that you said it, I don't think we have any problems with it.
That's the important.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, full
We all know.
transparency. And I did negotiate with Lombardo, and we've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes to get it all taken care of.
Man, I think it's transparent that you said if someone objects to you voting, they should raise an objection.
Any other questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Prymore?
Yes.
Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee McCauley?
Yes.
Trustee Meissen?
Yes.
Trustee Malinger? Yes. Trustee Hatcher?
Yes.
President Gilbert?
Yes. Attorney items. The only thing that's left on there is the hawking and peddling, and we're going to work on putting together something that's,
One suggestion, that if people have a specific idea or a specific area of the village, if you'd email it to us, we'll try to work it into an ordinance that may work.
May I ask, could we say like residentially zoned areas? Is that broad and yet specific enough?
I mean, it may work, but the way these things work, as I said, these are a work in process. You can pass them and attempt to enforce them. And then maybe you've got to maneuver them a little while, see what works out to be fair and what meets constitutional scrutiny. You can pass anything you want, if no one challenges you, everything's good. And a lot of times these things are modified as people challenge you. Then you go to the recent case and you see other communities have done the same. We can fix it up. I think that may work.
Yeah, I just really bring it up because even, I believe it was just yesterday even, there was a report of a solicitor going around with, which is a known scam, where they try to get your utility bill, so then they can go ahead and switch your utilities over to a different company behind your back.
The Sunco rep.
The Sunco rep, yeah. It's a known scam that's happening in other communities, and they were walking around the village yesterday.
See, we have a rational basis here. What's happening to us, we have a rational basis for that type of thing.
so if you have any thoughts and ideas, give them to Mr. Addis.
We also include exceptions like school groups. Also, could we also, I've been reviewing some of the peddling ordinances in other communities. Some of them restrict peddling hours from noon until 6. Is something like that viable, or have there been challenges to the time?
Again, it's a rational basis. Do you have, what reason would you give for it? And if the reason is, for instance, people, you don't want them out at night, it's a security issue, I think we can make that rational. you know, these things are all tested on a case-by-case basis. My position is make it as strong and as specifically intended to help New Haven as possible, and then if we have to take a few steps back, we can.
We also include recommendations for information on the permits to include driver's license and state ID. You know, a lot of them have a very strong application process, where you have to have ID, you have to have the company name, you have to have contact information, not just Bob, and I want to go around selling boxes. Can we do that? Do we detail that in the ordinance?
Well, I don't know if you need to detail that in the ordinance. I think there's a way we could write that we have in the ordinance, the village will ask for specific information relevant to the type of peddling or the product being hawked or peddled. Same thing, we want your name, your address.
And we do currently take a photo of their driver license.
If they even come to the village to ask.
Yeah, if they come to
Which
us.
is the, right, that's entirely valid.
Okay, so get your suggestions, please. Payment of bills. Did you all receive the new number? There was a slight change from what was sent out originally. There was a late last minute bill that came in that needs to be addressed. The new amount is $233,985.34.
I make a motion that we approve the amount of $233,985.34.
Support.
The move is supported that we pay the bills in that amount. Any questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Pymore?
Yes.
Trustee Meisen?
Yes.
Trustee Bellinger? Yes. Trustee McCauley?
Yes.
Trustee Heschel?
Yes.
Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Bellinger? Yes, I'm sorry. President Gilbert?
Yes. The treasury report.
I make a motion that we receive and file the treasurer's report reporting village cash assets of $3,453,895.69.
Support.
The move and supported that we receive and file the treasurer's report. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. You see the items there from the clerk. September, agenda items are due by September 1. Unfinished business. Village to City Committee, Trustee McCauley.
All right, so the Village to City Committee has been meeting regularly since about February. We went over all the informational packets that you could find online, the informational packets that cities that have gone through the process have put up on the websites. We had the MML come by, do a presentation, do a Q&A session. We reviewed the financial situation between us and Lennox Township. We reached out to 5 other communities that have gone through the process in the last 10 years, asked them questions like why they did it, are they better off, do they qualify for grants more. And then as a committee, at our last meeting, decided to recommend not pursuing Covington City to remain a village. I will have a report that has all of our findings in it that I'll submit to be received and filed next month. So that could be an action item on the next agenda. But at this time, we don't feel the village will be better off if we pursue that option.
There's one item that kept coming up. I think Mr. McCauley and the committee will agree, is that most of the villages that became cities because they didn't have a good working relationship with the township. Or they were in more than one township.
Yeah, many of them had a very specific reason why they did it, and we couldn't find a very specific reason for us to do it as well. And that's what it came down to.
Out of the, I think we talked to 6 cities directly, only one of them had been able to secure any grants additional to what they could as a village, and that one was matching and not substantial enough to.
I will say that I sat in on most of the meetings, and I must commend that committee for doing a lot of work. They took the charge very seriously. The trustees that were on it and the private citizens that were on it, they did a good job. I was impressed. While I didn't contact any outside communities, while they did, and while I sat there and I heard their, comments about their conversation with these other communities, I got an education on the whys and why nots. But I was really impressed with the effort and energy that they put in and how they reached out, and thank you for doing that. You guys did a good job. Are there any questions for Mr. Pacoli?
You're going to have paperwork next month for us to receive.
I'll write up all the findings and that way, because what happened, apparently this has been done a couple of times before, and I don't think we found very much of actual findings on it. So we found basic general information of village and city. So this way, any future committee will already have what we found, and that can be a stepping stone from where we want to go.
Thanks.
Item B, waste hauling bid. Recommendation. Mr. Pacoli. We're going to throw that back at you again.
We met twice in the last month to go over the proposals, and after going through and clarifying some of the questions that we had in the last meeting, the committee recommended that we go with GFL for our waste hauling bid and contract.
Let me run a couple of things just to confirm. GFL, the recycling is picked up every week, right? I believe so. It is slightly priced, slightly lower per year. It saves the residents about $100 some over a 5-year period. But we pay for the bins. Is it mandated that the residents buy the bins, or can they use what they use now? Okay. For waste management, recycling was every other week, right? We had to go to a bin system, everything had to be in the bin, and it was an extra $3.50 a month for the bin system, on top of the monthly fee? Okay.
For an additional bid.
For an additional bid, the
Yeah,
first bid was
Oh.
provided free of charge.
Okay, so this was additional.
But if you had a bin and a bag sitting next to it, they would not pick
Pick
up
up
the
the
bag.
bag.
Yeah.
Okay.
And further, our recommendation too, we also recommend with the GFL to not go with the recycling program, which will save an additional 30%.
The rewards
This
program.
recycling rewards program will still recycle, but the rewards will be put down.
Semantics.
Now, were you, a concern that I've heard from residents in other communities is that their point of contact, if they fail to pick up waste, GFL's kind of dropped the ball. Do you feel comfortable talking to their rep that we would have a point of contact to remedy the issue?
We will guarantee that we will have a route manager that we will have a direct line to.
Chesterfield was
When
too.
we do the contract, we're going to make that part of the contract.
Okay, that seemed to be the epic fail in several different communities that I've talked to, is that on several occasions, bring it back in your garage and pick it up next week.
Because I would say, from a waste management standpoint, that's one thing that I will give them credit for, that their route manager was responsible. Yeah. So we will make sure that that is definite.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would echo that concern. I mean, it's just, I had taken it up to ask in one of the social media groups for, it's a whole bunch of neighboring committees, neighboring communities, Chesterfield, Lennox Township, Richmond, New Baltimore, New Haven. So I asked what folks' feedback was on GFL. The first response was, do you realize what can of worms you're opening by asking for that feedback, just because of the sentiment for GFL is so negative in a lot of the other communities. So I would just want to make sure that we really have good communication and good way for them to, come back, because I would really hate for us to switch this contract and then we're worse off. There was a lot of comments where people were saying, their trash pickup was Friday and it still hasn't been picked up today. And it's, days later. So that's just my biggest concern.
Is there can there be a contractual fail-safe if they don't perform up to standards after a year?
We're making sure that all these are in place.
Okay. Because I'd hate to sign a 5-year contract when somebody's got flies around their property.
Right.
So, great.
We will make sure that the village is more than protected.
Do you need a motion then that we move forward with that?
We can work with it. You still got to sign it.
Subject to a contractual agreement acceptable to the board.
So we still have to have something brought in front of us? For approval, can we approve this now?
I'm sorry.
Do we need to wait for additional paperwork from GFL before we have a motion to go with GFL?
You do it one of a couple ways. Today, you can say that you can authorize your representatives, including attorneys, to negotiate that you've chosen GFL and we should begin negotiations of the proper contract, so that the contract is really based on the final written agreement, assuming one can be made that's acceptable to this board. So my suggestion is that eventually it comes back for a final acceptance.
October.
Yeah, okay. I mean, these contracts are pretty much, for instance, do you want a chance to get out in a year if they're not living up to it? Or do you want a chance to get out in 6 months if they're living up? Eventually, the two bargaining parties have to agree on that before they pick up the first, garbage can. That's just the reality of it. So you can, say, we pick GFL, we approve their bid now, subject to acceptable wording. We could appoint someone to come up with that acceptable wording, perhaps the same committee that made the recommendation. But eventually, someone's going to have to approve the president to sign that contract.
Okay,
Once it's
contracts
negotiated.
with the waste management is up in October?
Yes,
So we have basically one meeting to do this.
yes.
Okay.
So I would suggest that we approve the awarding of the bid and the attorney, because the attorney's going to be involved from.
We'll negotiate the language. We've done it before. We've done it with them before. So all we need to know is we're going to put in suggested out clauses. Okay? Because if it's not working, it's not working. They may have a few of their own. And so when that's achieved, then it's done. You can award today. They're not going to pick up without a contract either.
But subject to final approval of the contract.
Final approval of a contract.
Okay, make a motion that we approve GFL's waste proposal, subject to final approval of the contract.
Support.
We'll probably move and support it as we award our waste hauling contract to GFL pending final approval of a written contract. Any questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Feinberg.
Yes.
Trustee Pankowski.
Yes.
Trustee Foley.
Yes.
Trustee Meisner.
No.
Trustee Bellinger. Yes. Trustee Nashek.
Yes.
President Miller.
Yes. Motion carried. Item C, 150th.
So I mailed out to everybody in advance the 150th accounting that we have as of August 2nd, 1st, somewhere around there. I think we still have we still might have a few bills that may come in after the fact. The biggest thing that I would say that is still yet to be seen is going to be the continuing of sales for souvenirs. So the final accounting number that we have as of that date, early in August, the total cost to the village was around $20,000, rounding up. As more souvenirs are sold, that number comes down. So it's not as bad as it originally was thought it was going to be. Otherwise, the souvenirs are planned to be sold at Haven Place Family Day, the alumni or the community dinner. And we'd even talked about if it makes sense, we could even set up a table and some of the 150th committee members, maybe we'll just come set up a table and set up shop and sell stuff for an hour or two in the evening or something, just to try to keep getting rid of the souvenirs that are left over. Overall, in summary for the event, I'm happy to say that I saw almost everybody on the council at the event. The attendance definitely wasn't where we thought it was going to be. Unfortunately, the weather was really a factor. Between the heat and then in the evening we had a storm that came very close to hitting us on Friday, but then skirted right around. But then Saturday's weather obviously was the biggest factor. The storm that rolled through was devastating to the event. A lot of tents were damaged. We ended up having to cancel the remainder of the event, except for the fireworks, which was really unfortunate because as we were leading up to the evening hours, we were starting to see more and more folks coming in on the buses. The shuttles were dropping more and more people off. So it was really unfortunate that the weather just really drove a lot of people away. Otherwise, though, for the folks that were there, we heard a lot of good feedback. Seemed like a lot of people had a good time. The foam pit was a big hit. If you have any questions, I can field them.
I just want to say thank you. It was a wonderful event, and in the face of adversity, you guys persevered.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
I don't think I've ever been that hot.
We had a number of residents that were at the event that did succumb to having heat exhaustion and I'll definitely, I always was singing the praise, although they had to step out. The New Haven Fire Department, as always, huge help, both in responding to issues where folks were having heat complications, but also then ultimately the storm that came through on Saturday. They were, jumped right into action, got everybody to shelter inside the high school, helped with the cleanup and securing of the souvenir tents and everything, or the vendor tents. So the fire department was absolutely great. And a big thank you to the committee members as well. I know we have one member in the audience, but everybody that was on the committee really put in a lot of time, a lot of effort. I would say, I think it's fair to say pretty much everybody had personal expenses that we just sacrificed just for the sake of having the village event go as smoothly as possible.
Thank you. Item E, website update. I'm sorry, are there any more questions for Mr. Mason?
So website update. Actually perfectly timed. Yesterday, Revise quote-unquote lock down our current website for edits. So for the next, I think for the rest of this week, we will be unable to edit the site. And then they are setting up the new site, standing it up. We'll have a period of time to make reviews, changes, and make sure that everything looks good with the new site. We'll be able to download all the content and all the files and everything that exists on the current site. And then we'll shut down the old site and go live with the new site. So by I would say, hopefully as long as everything goes smoothly, by the end of this month, we'll have the new site up and running.
And what was the cost on this?
Nothing, free. This was included as part of our contract.
Questions?
As part of the switchover, I'll also be helping our current website administrator with updates and stuff in the future of the site. So we'll have a backup.
Any questions? Planning Commission update.
I think we covered everything. I just wanted to comment that it's a pleasure to work with the committee. We're really accomplishing a lot of things, and I'm proud of the work that we're doing. That's all.
Parks and Rec update.
A few brief updates. The slow roll ended for the summer. Turnout was great. We just wanted to say thank you to the Sheriff's Department and the Fire Department for their assistance. They lended equipment, radios, megaphones. They escorted the slow roll participants through the neighborhood, through the subdivisions. Everything went really well. So thanks everyone who came out for that. This weekend, the 17th, is Movies in the Park. It's going to be at Fountain Park. They're going to be showing The Greatest Showman, which is a pretty good movie. At 8 p.m. it starts. We're going to have bounce houses, like oversized lawn games, ice cream, popcorn, some other concessions. The movie's going to start probably around 9:20. It's kind of depending on how dark it is. You know, it's obviously we're losing daylight every day, so 9:20 should be a decent start time. And something new that we've been trying out every Wednesday through August. We already had one of them. There's another one tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. Calling it Village Fun Days, hosted by Parks and Rec. Each Wednesday, typically, you have to go online to find out, but it's like the 7th, they did a painting at the community center. The 14th, it's going to be at Community Park. They're going to be doing a relay and snacks and treats and things. The 21st, at the community center, there's going to be like a canvas painting for the kids. And then on the 28th is the last one. We're calling it like a Goodbye Summer event. They'll have some activities and things, and that's also going to be at the community center. Those are pretty much the big updates.
Do we have any more weeks planned for music in the park?
Nope.
No.
Just one.
And other was also stage.
Stay here.
Okay. There was questions on that. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we had to cancel a number of days.
6.
Did we lose it because it was just in use somewhere else, or?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's just a temporary scheduling issue.
It was we thought we were on their schedule, and when we called late winter, early spring to verify our dates, we don't have you. What?
Just as a stage cost, just like the last
The,
to purchase.
oh, to purchase?
Just
I think we're at about 100 grand.
I have no idea this, I guess. Let's do it.
For one similar to that one, with the self-contained, with the diesel generator, all hydraulics.
I know they were having a lot of problems with the generator.
Yeah, their generator is actually down.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're balking at the $9,700 replacement cost.
How much for a flatbed trailer?
And we've had that thought. And just modify it.
That's it.
Okay, Call from the floor.
I have a question for trustee Myson. Since you were doing this update on this website, what's going to happen to our payments that come into that system?
Payments that come into BSA,
BSA, taxes,
that's all unaffected because that's all a separate website.
also the website?
BSA,
How are they
yeah.
going to get to it if that website is down?
The website won't be down, it's just a link. So BSA softwares for the utilities and water bills and all that. On our main page, it's just a link to take you to the BSA website. So it's all up, everything's still up and functional, it's just that we can't edit, we can't put new news updates or make changes, we can't upload new agenda items.
Okay.
Yeah, and the BSA, because the BSA is totally separate, that's, because that's actually, it's a website that services all communities, or a lot of communities, not just ours. Good question.
Mr. President and council members, my name is Jeff Jarrett from the state rep of the 33rd House District, which includes New Haven. First, I want to thank you all for allowing me to open up the chambers and come here an hour early. As many of you know, I get around my entire district and make sure I get to every community and give the citizens an opportunity to come in and talk about their concerns face to face. So it's a great opportunity for them. Also, I make a point of getting to every community board or council meeting at least once a year to stop in and talk to elected officials. Many of you I've met before. Some of you I'm meeting first time tonight. For those of you who don't know me, I spent 17 years on the Richmond City Council, so I came from local government before I went to the state legislature. So I'm a big advocate for local government and being a partner. So I really encourage you, if you have questions or any way that I can help you, feel free. I think I've given out most of my business card to everyone. There may be something that, just in general, you're curious that some way we can help you. The president contacted me about a road grant, some issues with the state. Sometimes it helps to have your state legislature kind of reach out to some of the departments and kind of push and so forth for our communities. I will say that it's nice to see there's a lot of good going on in New Haven. I can see there's a lot of positive movement forward. I did attend the 150th anniversary. Congratulations on that. Yes, it was a hot evening, but it was still a pleasure to come out and present a tribute recognizing the 150th anniversary. And I think it's a great event. Unfortunately, the weather was not cooperative, but I think the motivation and the energy was there. So I want to congratulate all that worked on that. Wish for more success in the future on those. Last thing, we'll talk about revenue sharing. Obviously, something you're concerned about is that local government is always on the forefront of my concern in Lansing. It's kind of the issue that I tend to push the most is working with our local government officials. I will say that sometimes the state has not always been a good partner with local government, and I continue to remind people in Lansing that local government is our partners. We are not the parents of local government, we are partners with local government, and we should be working together to serve our citizens. So regarding revenue sharing, we continue to advocate to try to shore that up. We continue to fight unfunded mandates and remind people that the really millions upon millions of unfunded mandates that's come down over the years and really try to push back against this. Regarding the road funding, something I want you to be aware of. One of the things, there's a lot of things being talked about regarding road funding. Obviously, you being the village being a road agency that does roads, you obviously want to see more road funding. There's continuing during my term, during the last session of the term, there is a commitment to put more money out there. I just don't think people are real warm and fuzzy about the 45-cent gas increase. So the House budget is really cut in a lot of areas and really try to focus, cut bureaucracy to put money into roads. And one thing I want to tell you is that some things that come in the paper talk about selling the water bridge. It's interesting, the media only holds on to the part that they think is entertaining. This is really part of a larger plan. The state of Michigan owns the Blue Water Bridge, we own some railroad, we own 4 airplanes, we own some small airports, not anything majorly, the Detroit Metro, we own some small pieces. So fundamentally, this is really about getting the Department of Transportation focused on mainly a more core mission, so to get away from things like running the Blue Water Bridge, flying airplanes, owning small airports. So I know some people say that the House has not gone crazy with the idea of selling the bridge. It is about streamlining our state government to focus our resources on roads. One of the other things they're talking about is taking the sales tax on gas and putting all that towards roads. What it means to local government is that the local government gets a piece of revenue sharing from that income, and so do schools. And I've been very vocal with my colleagues to remember that if we take that 6% off, because a lot of if residents do not like the idea of a portion of taxes on gas not actually go to roads, which I agree with, all that should go to roads, but we need to reimburse local government. So I've been very vocal with my colleagues to remember that if we do take that action of taking that 6%, put it towards roads, that we have got to reimburse local government, that it can't just be on the backs of local government. Because I will tell you, in my time on city council, I was always upset with our state government putting so many things on my back, and I don't intend on doing that to local government the way that I had experienced. So again, so those are the things that I want all of you to kind of be aware of. After the meeting, if there's anything that you want to talk about, concerns, there's a lot of bills that I work on that are capable, which are ideas that came from local government to try to help. A lot of the communities in my district, I can say that bill relates to the whole township or Ray or Maida, where people brought up things and we tried to address them. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thought from the floor. Thought from the table.
I just want to further congratulate the 150th committee for the job that they did. Thank them for it. The volunteers, the sponsors, the donors, the fire department, everyone that put in the time and effort to put on that event. I attended it. I really liked it. I enjoyed it. So did my family. And I also want to thank Representative Yara for coming to our meeting today. Part of this listening board.
Thought from the table.
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to our Lions Club. When the heat was excessive, they volunteered to open up the Lions Hall as a cooling center. And they had people volunteer to go in there so that people could seek relief from the excessive heat. And they just did it on their own. So a shout out to our Lions Club. Right now they're holding a backpack drive. If anybody does their school shopping, you have an extra package of pencils, drop it off at the Lions Club. They're trying to build up backpacks to give to some of the kids in the neighborhood.
Thought from the table.
I have a question. I know I've been beating a horse quite a bit here when it comes to our water bills and what can we do. I was curious, and this may be an attorney question, this may be a village question, an accounting question. I did a little study trying to figure out what our water and sewer rate is in comparison to other communities, which is really hard to do because a lot of other communities are not as forthcoming with what their water and sewer rates are as we are. We have the PDF right on our village website, whereas others, you have to search, and even then they don't even really publish what the rates are. So I'm happy to say that for a number of neighboring communities, we're actually really aligned with water rates, if not cheaper, for the actual rate itself.
The commodity.
The commodity. Where we obviously then spike is having trash service combined with it, and then the water and the sewer debt. If doing the comparison, if we were to actually somehow or another, if it's even feasibly possible, to remove the water and the sewer debt from that bill some way or somehow, and the trash service so that it's literally just the commodity base, the right to service, and the billing, there's one more charge, readiness to serve. Our bill would only be $40 for 4 units used, which seemed to be like just kind of an average that I was seeing. Is there any feasibility or possibility of being able to take the payments that we collect or the money that we collect for water debt and sewer debt and apply it to like taxes, or have it be some sort of separate bill so that it's not attached to our water bill? Because It seems like if you were to take the water debt and the sewer debt, and attach it to taxes, it'd probably be, I think I did the calculation, I think it was around $500, $600 for the year.
But, let's say our manufacturing, housing units, they don't pay taxes.
That's something I did not know.
No, the park pays taxes. But now you're gonna ask the park to divvy that up.
A lot of those are pretty clear. I personally think, I mean, everything is right. I'm just wondering if people just are kind of looking at that bottom number. I mean, it's very, I don't know how much clearer it
Yeah,
is.
it's clear. And from the trash, GFL, like Waste Management, they will bill individually for a fee.
Yeah, I don't think we want to go that route. I just was trying to think of some way that we could creatively decouple those sewer bonds and the water bond from the bill, just so that people could see, like, you know.
I think most people understand what's going on. You know, they have enough information on the debt. You know, we've been fortunate the last 3 or 4 years that our water rates have been frozen, our sewer rates have been frozen. So they're, you know, and the debt is what it is. Yeah, you know, you are probably at $60 before you even come on the strip. You know?
I do want to say, it's something that I actually got a lot of information from our DPW superintendent regarding the water meters and how they work and all that. And I know that one of our residents was fairly impressed with his responsiveness to his concern with his water bill. And
you know what, I read Facebook, I don't participate in it, but I saw the conversation. It's on the Facebook stalk. Creeper. Yeah, and you know, the whole thing with the 40 meters, the 40 units and da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
And well, that's, yeah, but the sprinklers out there, just leave
Right.
them.
Then now we know who is
Sprinklers ain't going into the catch basin.
That actually brought up, sorry, I know I'm keeping everybody, and I apologize, I'm talking a lot here. When it comes to the way that our water is billed, our PDF file says it's based on 1,000 gallons. When you go online, though, EPA and some other sources say that it's typically 748 gallons for one unit. What's the
1,000 gallons per unit.
Okay.
And one thing the residents may not realize, because, man, I used 3 units last month when I was 4. Well, if you use 995
That's one unit.
or less, okay, then next month you didn't use 1,050. Now so that's why because I fluctuate between 2 and 3.
Yeah.
2 this month, 3 next month. 2 this month, you know, because of, you know, you're on that threshold there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think in the specific residence, scenario with the 40 units, I mean, so that's 40,000 gallons of water. That's a lot of water. Turned out it was a sprinkling system.
But we did adjust the bill.
Yeah,
Based on the sewer, we charged on his average sewer rate.
Yeah.
And so we didn't charge on sewer on the other 36,000 gallons. Because we know it's just going in the ground. So when they follow procedure and they call the office and they make an appointment and they give us a chance to respond, we will work with them. But if they want to be and voice their opinion on Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's why I definitely want to thank our DPW superintendent, because he definitely schooled me on a lot of information for water meters and how the process works, and I have a lot more faith in our water meters now based off the conversation. So, thank you.
That 7.48 is cubic feet per gallon, too, by the way.
Okay.
table. Motion's in order.
Motion to adjourn.
Aye.
Thank you.